Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box Super Bowl week. The end of the NFL season. It's been a great NFL season. Tariq Spence, WDKX, thanks for joining us, man.
I'm not sure what we're going to do for the next 6 hours before we kick off, but whatever it is, pace yourself.
I thought you said we're going to say for the next 6 months without football. I am just dreading this. I have so enjoyed this football season, Pat.
Agreed. And I would say you could watch Sabres hockey, but you can't do that because the NHL totally screwed that up with the COVID protocols and the Sabres, which they should be out of their mind about. But we'll talk about that later in Unfinished Business.
Tariq, let's talk Super Bowl. My favorite, I'm at an age such that I've actually seen a piece of every Super Bowl played. I'm kind of proud of that. And my favorite little piece of trivia as far as the Super Bowl goes is that undefeated Miami Dolphin team that's supposed to be so great was the underdog in the Super Bowl against the Washington Redskins the year they played. The Redskins were the betting favorite in that game. What do you like about the Super Bowl, Tariq?
I like the fact that we're going to make some history. I mean, this is really going to be a great game. Listen, for Pat Mahomes, for me, I'll save the prediction. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the game. I'm hoping that they win the game, but I wouldn't be mad if Tom Brady goes out and wins a championship fresh off of a year leaving from the New England Patriots and going to Tampa Bay. If you look at the growth of Tampa Bay, I mean, let's start from the beginning. COVID protocol, which means you had little to no minicamp. He breaks the law in going to a beach or going to a gym or going to a park somewhere to try to get reps in. He had a big sort of a staring match with the head coach, Bruce Arians. That sort of died down. He asked for Antonio Brown. Wide receivers were hurt. Tom Brady's ultimate goal to win another championship would be great. I still think Pat Mahomes is the better offense. And remember, the Chiefs didn't lose anybody offensively for the most part. Their head coach is going to be there, Bieniemy. I'm shocked he's not a head coach someplace else. Their offensive coach, Bieniemy. I'm shocked he's not a head coach someplace else. So I think this matches up pretty good, and I think Kansas City will come out firing. I don't think Tampa Bay can win in the shootout.
How about you, Pat?
If you want me to be honest, this is the first Super Bowl in my life. I'm not really looking forward to anything. This sucks, and I hate it, and I don't even know if I want to watch the Super Bowl. We talked about it in the break room on CMF earlier this week. So, I don't want to see Tom Brady win another Super Bowl. I hate Tom Brady. You can talk, oh, good, I don't want to see it. And then, look, I'm not disappointed in what happened with the Bills, right? It was a heck of a season, but now I have to go in and cheer for the team that not only beat the Bills in the AFC Championship, but were throwing punches and throwing body slams all over throughout the game, and then the Bills get the blame at the end when everything goes poorly. I'm going to watch the game, obviously, because what else is there to do on Super Bowl Sunday? But this is the first Super Bowl of my life where I'm not excited to sit down and watch this game. I don't know what to do. I'm having weird feelings inside, guys. I need you to help me out with it.
I think you're still coping from the AFC Championship game. It sounds like you haven't moved on from that yet. So, I mean, I understand that, but wouldn't you want the team to beat you to win it all? You wouldn't want them to lose and then face again next year and have Tom Brady get another championship on you.
I don't know what I want. I can't cheer for that Chiefs team after what went down during that game, in that game. I look at it like this. As a Bills fan, normally I have about 8 to 10 weeks to deal with the fact that the Bills were out of it the entire time. This is the first time in 25 years where it is raw and open and right here. And yeah, I'm having a hard time coping. So I'm going to eat a lot of potato skins and chili or something like that. I'm going to enjoy the halftime show, and I'm going to begrudgingly watch the Super Bowl.
I don't understand you.
You guys got more respect or resentment to Tom Brady for what happened this year, getting this new team to the game?
I respect him. I mean, listen, he really matured the Tampa Bay organization. I mean, literally, he basically said, you guys need to grow up. Let's get healthy. Let's play. This is how we do it. And came in, it's funny. I think it was Danny Amendola who said that the Patriot way was really more Tom Brady than anybody else. You can see that now on the effect of Tampa Bay. They have a totally different attitude. You add that defense inside. I'm not saying they can't win the Super Bowl on Sunday, but I think this is going to be really interesting to watch. History either way.
Last comment, Pat.
I mean, look, when it comes to Brady, sure, it's impressive, but let's not pretend like he walked onto a Detroit Lions roster and willed his way for this team to win, that it was all his performance. I mean, look, the guy has benefited from quality rosters the last 15 years of his career. The guy walked onto a team that might have been a championship team with a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. So, yeah, tip the hat. The guy's, it's great. Might be the greatest quarterback of all time, but come on, man. This ain't Frank Reich stepping in down 35 points and pushing the Bills in 1993.
We are the Rochester Press Box talking Buffalo Bills. Next.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay & Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Thanks for joining us, and welcome back to the Rochester Press Box. We're talking Buffalo Bills. We do talk first to Pat Duffy. Hey, look, Tariq said they're going to win they're going to be in the Super Bowl next year. We're a long way to go, but how do you feel about that?
I mean, I want to believe it. Look, again, with expectations comes pressure. And as the season wraps up, something a lot of Bills fans hadn't thought about, look, there's going to have to be some moves made in the offseason to get enough cap room to bring in the playmakers. That will make the difference to get you over the hump of beating a team like the Chiefs, right? Who are you willing to walk away from right now? You got a couple of interesting names that have been key pieces. John Brown, the wide receiver. I mean, he's great, but, he had missed the last couple of weeks of the regular season. He was ineffective 2 out of the 3 playoff games that he was playing in. He's a pretty big cap number. Mitch Morse, center, again, he makes a fortune, and you weren't able to run the ball this year. How much of that is Mitch Morse? He also has a history of concussions. You can save money letting him go. So we're going to see on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball where McBean's, both the head coach and the GM's priorities are, and where they think they can cut to take a next step next year.
Wait. Did he just say that they didn't run the ball this year? I think I've been saying that since the start of the year. This is how you beat a championship team like Kansas City. Hold the ball control. If you want to I think you want to beat them in a slugfest. Don't do it. Do not do that, okay? All right, do not get in a slugfest with Kansas City with all of their weapons. Beat them by beating the clock, running the football, scoring, don't settle for field goals. That's the way it's going to go. If Tampa Bay can do that, they got a chance in this Super Bowl. The biggest thing is you didn't lose your offensive coordinator and you didn't lose your defensive coordinator. Frazier was one of the top people that they were considering down in Houston. He didn't get the job. So I think you keep him with McDermott's new contract. So you've got the cohesiveness with your coaching staff. And then let's see if Josh Allen can take it another step. It's very hard to go from great to iconic.
To those points, Pat mentioned Morse. Feliciano's a free agent. If it's me, I don't short that offensive line. I've got the guy finally behind that offensive line that I want, my franchise quarterback. I'm going to do everything to keep that line together, Pat. I think that's my first priority.
100%, and you already had a huge mistake in releasing Wyatt Teller, who ends up in Cleveland and becomes one of the best offensive linemen in the freaking league. But, Bill, you got a serious issue. You're going to have to play offensive versus defensive side of the ball. Your 2 major free agents are Feliciano and Matt Milano, the linebacker. The Bills were undefeated the regular season, lost the AFC Championship game with Milano in the lineup. He's got an injury history, but he's also shown that when he is in, he is a defensive game changer. Feliciano can play every position up and down the offensive line. He's a spiritual leader on this team. He and Josh are besties of friends. So do you think you can more easily replace an offensive lineman, or do you think you can more easily replace a linebacker who, when he wasn't in the lineup, you were playing football and winning games a heck of a lot closer than you were when he wasn't there?
Yeah, just so I can handle it. I think teams that load up defensively are teams that can't do it offensively. I think the way the NFL is set up right now, everything is offense until you realize I got shortcomings there. Maybe if I invest in the defense, I can sort of counterbalance this. Well, the Bills are all of a sudden a very offensive team. I keep the money in the offense, Tariq.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, listen, you're definitely going to get into a punching match with a team like a Kansas City later on down the season. But that offense has got one more click that they need to get to, and that's 1 or 2 weapons short.
All right, like all of these things you're saying sound great, and I want to be like, yeah, awesome, fantastic. Look, they got 38 hung on them in the AFC Championship game, and they weren't able to score except in garbage time over 18 points, right? I want to believe that they're there, but I feel like they're more than just a tweak or 2 away. I don't think it's picking a player over another to make a decision to go down the right route. McDermott and Bean have shown that they have no problem shaking things up, right? They have their foundation. I think that you are going to see more drastic changes than you believe this offseason, knowing how good Kansas City is in the AFC.
I wouldn't make too many changes. You have gone on course and stayed on course all the way through, made the playoffs, now the AFC Championship game. I think you're a couple of tweaks away. A massive change. I can't see Buffalo doing that. That's a big, big move.
All right, when I say massive change, I don't mean, a name coach. I don't mean your quarterback going. But look, you're going to have a legitimate running back in there. I think you're going to have a legitimate name free agent or 2 defensive player as well, and they have to find the money to do it. So I think there's going to be a player or 2 who you do not see coming off of this roster in the offseason. I mean, Look, the Bills of the 90s did it as well. Like, you remember those guys, the name Hall of Famer guys, but there were folks coming in and out that were legitimate pieces of this team that That's who they went without. Whoa, that's who they brought in. I mean, Bill, you remember Bill Brooks makes the appearance in the final Super Bowl. Like, that's something you didn't think you would need, right? With Andre Reed, with Pete Metzelaars, with Don Beebe, with Steve Tasker. I feeling it.
We are the Rochester Press Box, and Like It or Not is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
All of these things show Josh Allen has a strive for greatness inside of him.
Falcon Around with Carl Falk. New episodes every Tuesday on Rock Sports Now.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not, segment of the Press Box brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law Firm. Attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Law today. Like it or not, Tariq, Matthew Stafford saying that he'll go anywhere except New England. And he wound up in LA, of course.
Well, I mean, listen, he got the great weather. I tell him that right now. And probably the better environment. They seem to love him in LA. The one thing I find interesting about this whole thing is that just goes to show you how deep that relationship with him and Pat Patricia was. There was a chance of Pat Patricia possibly going back to the Patriots after losing his job to the Detroit Lions. There's a couple other layers that are in for this as well. The one thing I want to bring up is the fact that Stafford basically not want to go back is basically, why would I want to go to the disciple of the guy I really didn't like? So that's just more of that. But two, I don't think he wanted to follow Tom Brady, which I think is the Patriots' biggest problem, replacing a legend. It is very hard to replace a legend in any town. Ask the Chicago Bulls. So for crying out loud, for the next few years, you're going to have a tough time getting a quality, good quarterback, unless you draft them, which the Patriots do not do well, in there. I think it's shocking he would say it, but I believe it 100%. So I like it.
All right, Pat, how much joy are you taking in this whole fall of the Patriots thing?
Me? Joy?
Yeah.
Fall of the Patriots? Look, I think it's encapsulated perfectly in a quote from former Patriots wide receiver Danny Amendola about Bill Belichick. And I'm paraphrasing, but he essentially said, we took pay cuts so Bill Belichick could put rings on his fingers. And he's totally right. Like, you had these players coming in and they were being sold this, quote, Patriot way. Well, you know who wasn't sacrificing? Was the guy who was getting all the credit in the first place. And then you see what happens this season. Here's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to 3 years from now, 4 years from now, when you are able to take Tom Brady's record and Bill Belichick's record without each other and run them side by side. Because, Bill, it is possible that the best, most brilliant genius coach in NFL history will be under 500 without Tom Brady as his quarterback. Me? Joy in that? No.
I just put a footnote on it for this year. I know this is all Tom Brady right now because he's in the Super Bowl. Having watched New England play, and you guys saw them too, that they won 7 games is a minor miracle. And I think that's a feather in Belichick's cap. And he could have won 2 more games. He had Seattle and Buffalo both on the ropes. That could have been a 9-7 team with that roster. And that's pretty amazing.
He could have lost 3 more games. You want to play the coulda, woulda, shoulda game? And by the way, since when are you going to give the greatest coach in NFL history credit for going a game under 500 when he had his pick of the litter for quarterbacks in the offseason, and he decided to go with Cam Newton and run that offense they wanted to run? Give him credit for making a poor decision in personnel. Way to go. Hey, great job. Way to go. That's awesome.
Can I just get one more thing in this about this whole
situation?
Sure,
go ahead.
Well, it's not really against Bill Belichick. Remember the games in the Super Bowls that they've won, they were close games as well. So it just goes to show you that Tom needed Bill, Bill needed Tom. We all agree with that. But this, so far in the divorce, Tom Brady's winning. It's just the way it sort of is. So I think you're only a genius when you have the players.
Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law Firm. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box. Time for unfinished business. Pat, start us off.
Ideally, the Buffalo Sabres start playing regular season games again very soon. You know why they haven't been playing them? Because the NHL apparently stopped caring about COVID protocols after they left the bubble. Last week, the Buffalo Sabres played a back-to-back against the New Jersey Devils, and 2 of their players weren't in the lineup. The Sabres wanted to know why, and the NHL, according to reports, did not tell them. They found out the day after when 10 players for the New Jersey Devils had to go into COVID protocol on top of the 2 people that weren't playing. According to several sources, the NHL did not let the Sabres know that these players who they were playing against out of the lineup had been held out due to COVID-related issues. And because of this, early on the week, 2 Sabres stars had to be held out because of COVID protocols. And they're not going to get to play games for a week, maybe longer. Hey, guess what? When you're playing a 50-something game season and you're playing 4 games a week on a consistent basis, it's going to be really tough when you miss an entire week to have to make up those games, especially with the Sabres and all their new players they have and as safe as they've been the entire time. If you want to give the Pagulas credit for one thing in sports, they have been keeping their teams safe when it comes to COVID. Both the Bills and the Sabres have been really impressive. And it's hard to do that when the league that you play in doesn't give you a heads up. Hey, this might be an issue.
There's a TV show that's on Showtime called Billions, and the character in it that I want to talk about, his name is Hall. Hall's job is only to run background on people, security, and threats against one of the main characters, Bobby Axelrod. Is this guy available for the New York Mets or even Major League Baseball? Or how about all of sports there is? There have been a number of different stories from the office personnel to managers to players that have come up with all of these sort of background stories that everyone kind of knew about, from either the ex-Mets GM, Jared Porter, to the ex-Met manager when it comes to Mickey Callaway, now the suspended pitching coach for the Angels, Mickey Callaway. From Hollywood to Washington, rumors are strong, and some of them are actually true. So I guess my question would be, who's really doing these background checks? Are they looking into complaints? Are complaints being made? We're hearing a lot of people going through the process in HR and then only to find out 4 to 5 years later, there was an issue of unsolicited and unwanted text messages. My only question would be for this: for anybody going for a job, who is doing the background check for all of these different people that are great at their job? Or are they doing the background check and they're still really good at their job and you still want them to have it? That means the good old boy network is still around.
Hey, wagering on major sporting events isn't unique to the United States. In fact, if anything, we're a little bit late to the party. But how we bet on the Super Bowl is. It isn't enough to know that the Kansas City Chiefs are 3.5-point favorites to beat Tampa Bay. The game itself takes a backseat to a whole lot of other stuff. Like the length of the national anthem, which no respecting artist keeps under the 2-minute betting line, since the temptation to add a flourish or an extra verse or two seems too much to overcome. Besides, the Star-Spangled Banner was never sung better and never will be since Whitney Houston's immortal performance back in 1991, even if she did lip-sync it. There's betting on the coin flip, which seems rather pointless, and the color of the Gatorade bath at the end of the game, a custom we can't seem to outgrow, and how long before some ball boy with inside information cashes in big. Will Clyde Edwards-Helaire rush for more yards than the age of the winning coach, or rather the winning quarterback? Might as well be the coach. Will the Buccaneers score more touchdowns against the Chiefs than the Tampa Bay Lightning of the National Hockey League score against the Red Wings? Will Tom Brady attempt to high-five an official? You can place a prop bet on all of these things. And finally, will Brady shake the hand of Patrick Mahomes at the end of the game? He almost assuredly will, but we'll still find a way to criticize him for it, won't we, Pat? You can bet on that. That is Unfinished Business, and that is our show, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
He's already criticizing it. The game hasn't even started yet. He's already criticizing it.
Greatest villain in sports history. How dare you have takes where he's not a good person? Get out of here, Bill. I'm done. I'm going home. I'm already home.
All right.
I'm here.
Well, we'll still be on next week. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next week for the Rochester Press Box.